So we're live.
So how you doing, Bob?
We already have a comment and we weren't even on screen yet.
It's probably your dashing looks. I think that's probably score for a comment.
All right, everybody. It's Boomer Bob here with the Boomer Bob Show. I've got my friend wYzEgYe over here.
Hey, everybody.
And his name is right here on the screen behind us. If you don't know how to spell it, fucking figure it out.
Yeah, it's Chinese version. So
China.
It looks like a radio station. wYzEgYe.
All right, I only put these on when I'm in the mood to get smart. So, what's going on? What's going on? What brings you over? What makes me have to set up shit for 2 hours so I can talk to you? I'm just playing, man. This is my fault.
I just wanted to tell you about how my day went. You know, it was.
All right. Well, it's good talking to you guys.
Yeah,
I'll catch you later.
We could have had a text about this. You know. Well, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, Bob. And obviously, 2020 is smacking everybody in the head with the fury. So.
It's also Friday the 13th. Let's not forget that shit.
It was pretty eerie this morning here where we live. Fog was set out amongst the entire valley. So, you know, we live amongst mountain ranges, and when it fogs up, it really fogs up. So it's kind of spooky a little bit.
Well, see, when you get out of bed at noon, you don't really notice that shit.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, that didn't happen to me today. It was 4 a.m. for me. But Friday the 13th.
What's up? I got to ask a favor real quick.
Yeah.
Talk to everybody there.
Well, okay, so Elon Musk came out with something today that I guess he was curious about his test results because he took 4 PCR tests, and he got 4 different results. So I think he tested positive twice and negative twice in the same day at the same facility with the same people. So he was tweeting out his dismay about what's really going on.
Well, yeah, didn't he say that? Well, I heard. I was talking to the wife, so I missed part of what you said. But I had to get her to get the fuck. I'm just kidding. Oh. I needed her to go check something for me. See where Bitcoin is. He said that he got tested 4 times. Times he tested positive, and 2 times he tested negative in the same day.
Yeah, which is.
Now, did he use the same place? Did he go into details?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have the information right in front of me, but yeah, he supposedly used the same facility and the same people administered the test, and he was tweeting out about it, and he was confused about it. But that seems to be across the board with the COVID test, specifically the PCR test. At best, is 50-50 as to whether you're going to get a false positive, false negative. And I mean, so that begs the question of, are these numbers, the staggering rates climbing, are they accurate? Are they simply getting false positives and, ratcheting up the fear of this whole COVID thing? Because,
well, I mean, I've done an entire episode regarding the polymerase chain reaction test and how it's being misused, that it was never designed to be a way to tell you that you're sick.
Yeah, it was not designed to actually.
It was designed.
Virus.
It was designed to take a tiny, minuscule amount of shit and make a whole bunch of it. That's all it was designed to do, and it's been perverted, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, the guy that invented it, I think he was he won the Nobel Peace Prize for it, and he subsequently died last September.
Yeah, last August, actually. Last
August. And he refuted Dr. Fauci use of that test to determine HIV positive cases. And as we know, Dr. Fauci spearheaded that whole HIV epidemic, which consequently made him millions and millions of dollars in his research and funding and through different therapies they use to treat the patient. So he was a staunch opponent to Fauci's use of that particular test to make that determination for a virus. And had he been alive today, I'm sure he would have been yelling at the rooftop about using it to determine coronavirus. So, in the inventor's own words, it was never designed for that. It was designed to actually create a platform for you to be able to do manufacturing in a laboratory setting. What it basically does is amplify whatever results they find, however you need it to be able to identify even the most minuscule of trace element of any type of whatever they're trying to study, so that they can study it. And if you set the guidelines of CDC to the parameters as to how you use that test, whether you say we're going to amplify every single test at 40%, you amplify that virus, that sample at 40%,
right,
across the board, that would be great if they were using across the board.
Well, that's the bitch, is that, and I talked about this in that episode. If you guys want to go back and listen to it, I think I called it science. I don't know. I don't remember what I called it. I'm an idiot.
Science fiction.
Well, I misspell everything because I want the new generation to be able to read what I put. So I misspell it like it's a rap song.
Oh yeah.
So they get it,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Trying to connect with the youth, man. That's what you got to do these days.
You got to make it. Yeah.
What the hell? Doesn't matter how much money you spend. Doesn't matter. None of it matters.
No, I mean,
no.
It has a mind of its own.
Fucking China.
Everybody is so sick of talking about coronavirus.
Well, I mean, what I had mentioned in that episode was that, recommended cycles for the PCR test is 25 to 30, no more than 35.
Yeah.
And they're doing 43, 45, and that amplifies it too much. You could find Jimmy fucking Hoffa in everybody's bloodstream if you amplify it enough.
Yeah. And we all have coronaviruses within our, blood cells. It's just a fact. I mean,
well, the common cold is a coronavirus, right?
Yeah. And, it's stated on CDC's website for a while that you could possibly be testing for the cold, testing positive for the cold versus COVID-19. So they don't even know with certainty that even actually says on CDC's website that they have yet to completely isolate the COVID-19. Now, there's some scientist overseas, I don't know where, I don't know if that's in Switzerland or Belgium, but they have said they isolated the coronavirus, the SARS-CoV-2, and determined that it's an actual virus. But the CDC says they're using modeling of that, what they would suspect would be a positive identification of that virus, because they've yet to isolate it in a laboratory setting and repeat it and reinfect somebody with it. So those things are major coming from the CDC, which is basically admitting we're not really sure it exists. We think it does. This is what we base our model on. This is what we're going to do our testing for. And it's all over the map as far as whether they amplify it, like you said, 25 times or 45 times. So that begs the question, could they, in fact, increase numbers of positive results by changing the parameters of testing and increasing the amplification? And or coming out with a vaccine, could they decrease that parameter of testing so that there's less positive identifications of COVID-19? I mean, all those things are coming to question, and they're coming straight from the CDC website. So I don't think they know. I don't know anybody that knows. I think they're discovering, in the first stages of the COVID-19, they were coming out with crazy stuff like, you could be 30 feet away and get contact. It's on surfaces.
They don't fucking know, dude.
They don't.
They don't 100% know. I mean, and that's the part that I hated. I'm not I don't want to sound like a Trump supporter, Trump, like sycophant or Trump, explainer, whatever you want to call it. But sorry, I'm getting messages here from everybody, and they pertain to the show, but they don't pertain to the show. So, it's like he takes the blame for, COVID in this country being absolute shit. And it's like, look around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a couple of countries that are, doing pretty well.
Yeah.
But you can't, it's not like we can take whatever they're doing. We can't take their COVID practices and apply it here because it's different dynamics. Yeah, it's people versus people, but it's a different amount of people. It's different climate, different
cultures.
Exactly. So I don't, what do you do?
I think
you blame Trump. That was the only answer there.
Well, you blame Trump. Yeah.
There you go.
Orange man, he came out pretty early, hard and heavy on the hydrochloroquine something, whatever.
Hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah.
HCQ.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not articulate in that particular.
And not the pond cleaner kind.
But I mean, it was actually becoming quite effective in other countries, and they were using it, and they still use it. It's readily available all over Africa, over the counter. You can walk in and buy it like it's aspirin, and as a consequence, or maybe not, Africa doesn't have an outbreak of COVID. Now they're starting to say that there is an outbreak of COVID, but for a long time they couldn't figure out how is Africa not getting massive amounts of infections. Well, I mean, if you walk in and buy the hydro,
I mean, aren't they kind of the HIV capital of the world? I mean, as far as continents go. I mean,
well,
so I mean, if they're gonna have more super spreader events than
you would think,
us, just because of the way that they live.
Yeah, and their culture. I mean, their tribes. They sit around in a campfire, less than 2 feet away from each other.
That really sounds better than the way we got it, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah,
kind of getting bored with all this.
So I don't know. They shut that down pretty quickly. That therapy that was being successfully used in other countries, and basically they put a warning and saying it was jeopardizing the safety of Americans.
It just seems,
and the American Heart Association jumped on it, and other associations, the medical associations, jumped on it and said, yeah, it's messing people up.
It does seem like they went from, all right, we got a virus. You want to work on a cure? No, let's go for a vaccine. There was they put. I mean, some of them were trying to find, well, all these medications we already have. Let's test it out on it and find out if it works. Maybe we already got something, but they pushed. Like, you didn't hear that in the media at all. All you heard was vaccine, and you didn't, even Anthony Fauci, who no longer talks like that, but he he went right for the vaccine. Like, he, of course, Bill Gates was right there too. But
he was peddling like a mad dog.
And I think he's, I haven't heard much out of him in the last, I'd say, month.
Oh yeah, he's counting his money right now. His
did he ever get his
substantially?
I think he needed $4 billion. He was trying to raise. He put in the first $2 billion. Now, he didn't come out and say that, but he was like, "Well, we got $2 billion. We need 4 total. We need 2 more." Like he did his rounds.
Yeah.
On all the interviewing and bullshit, putting the word out there, and then in the same breath, he'd be talking about how he is, like in Africa, his investment with the vaccines there was not the COVID vaccine, but other vaccines.
Yeah.
His investment there was like 20 million, or 20 million. And the yield was like 200 million.
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on.
He said that was the most profitable venture
but I thought that it was a charity.
I mean, there's always
I get it.
Yeah.
Charities need to raise money. I mean, so does St. Jude's need to start maybe marketing their own cancer medication for kids so that they can sell it back to themselves to make more money off of it? I mean, how does that?
I mean, they don't have to. They'll just get the government to fund it and provide funds from the taxpayers to give it back to us so that, I
just want one of those little teddy bear throw blankets.
But yeah, I'm curious too where Bill Gates is and where he stands on this. Maybe he's already got his message out to the American people of fear and hopelessness until his vaccine comes out, and now he's marching on to other nations to spread his good-natured wealth of humanity and profits for vaccines. So I mean, you got to market that stuff. You know, it's not going to sell itself. Fear is a healthy motivator. So you know, the whole vaccine thing, they've already proven that natural vitamin D3 and vitamin C have been effective.
Excuse me.
The COVID? No.
No, it's AIDS.
Effective treatments and controlled environments, or just on a regular basis. They actually did a study in China and said that selenium is less prevalent, I'm sorry, in the soil naturally in China. I don't know why, but as a consequence, they think they got hit really hard because people's body didn't have that natural element in them. And so I went out and bought selenium, vitamin D3, vitamin C. I started seeing all the studies coming out, how they were positively treating cases with, COVID with those natural things. For the life of me, I don't understand why the U.S. government and all the health professionals didn't advocate for everybody. Hey, go out, buy the shit while it's cheap. It's readily available. They make it in the thousands. If it helps, it helps. If it doesn't help with the COVID, because you're becoming healthier.
I don't think they knew, man. They just it was mismanaged from the bottom all the way to the top, and for everybody to just blame one guy for what we're dealing with right now, and what we've been dealing with for all the deaths. You got an empty seat at your dinner table tonight. You can thank Donald Trump. I got 2 empty seats.
Yeah. Well, that's what.
It's because I don't have kids. It's just me and the wife.
That's what good manipulators do. They tug at the heartstring and emotional pandering to Americans to get a response. Like, I'm connecting with you because I shed a tear just like you did. Dude, Biden's got, multi-billions of dollars. His family's super wealthy, and Hunter's out there making deals in China as fast as he can, and, having sex with whatever hookers he can. So they've managed to establish a pretty healthy financial empire.
Sounds to me like Biden's got the life.
Sitting there on national TV in a debate talking about, I'm with you. Really? Are you really with me? You're going to be flying on a private jet halfway around the world, paid for by somebody else. Do we live like that? I don't know. I don't live like that. I get my damn Nissan pickup truck, 1986, and drive my happy ass to work.
Yeah, but that motherfucker's got a train horn in it, though. That's badass.
Yeah, I'm a horny guy.
You could have bought another truck for what that cost.
I know, but it's so fun. I mean, watching people drop their phones as they're texting and
jump out of their skin. Yeah. I seen a black dude turn white one time when you did it.
Yeah, it will make you piss yourself. But
so I'm gonna address a couple comments. We're live on YouTube and on Facebook. We have a few comments and a few viewers. So let's see. We've got my friend Mark, my boy Mark B.
Excuse me while I
saying what up. Good to see you, Mark. He comes by and visits me when he's in town.
Hey,
good
Mark.
Dude. I've known him too long, man. Over 30 years. Let's see. We got the wife saying everything looks and sounds good. Appreciate that, sweetheart. Got my buddy Josh. He was a guest on the with you and the wife on the religion episode.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's saying, hey,
Josh, how you doing?
I'm just guessing. Hopefully, it's not hey. And got B-Rad, dude that goes by Access tonight. He's part of our little Discord group, does a podcast called Insanime. And I guess he was talking about the COVID, what do you do? He was saying basically stay home, which I'm sure is somewhat of a trolling comment. He's a postman, so
yeah.
Let's see. And then we have Athena saying that she's not taking the vaccine.
Damn it, I'm not taking it.
Lisa, one of my wife's friends, she says, you can't trust anything a communist country says.
I can
You back that up?
Yeah.
You concur?
I concur.
Okay. Oh, Josh confirmed that it was the hey, the other kind. So, all righty. That's caught up on comments. Not that that actually added to the show. I'll probably edit that shit out, but that's what it is. So it's like, where do we go? Because we're talking about Corona, COVID, and there's two directions we can go, but we can go to what Biden's plan is, with his new COVID czar.
Yeah.
Who's a fucking loser. Anyway, or we can go into the election that gives Biden what he thinks is the right to have a COVID czar at this current point in time. I'll give the dice to you, let you roll them and see what you want to go into first. What Biden's what the current talk is regarding COVID, or do you want to talk about the election and then go back into Biden's plan?
Well, I mean, I have my assumptions of the way this may play out. And I don't want to say this all in one breath because it's like a mountain of volcano eruption from
I'm a smoker. I can't say in one breath.
But so if
you can laugh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Our mics are fairly directional, so your laugh would really have to be
bounce off the wall,
gut busting, you know.
I mean, so if Biden actually holds on to his fake election and they push that through and disregard it and they ramp up the COVID fear, so we look over here instead of looking over here, like they always do, misdirection,
sleight of hand,
you know, it's highly effective. Then we will be thrust upon into this nightmare scenario of all of these previous think tank groups that have calculated how a pandemic could play out and how they can use that circumstance to garner more control, less rights, tracking everybody, all those scenarios that we envision as a totalitarian government, communist in nature.
So I'm lost. Are you going into COVID or are you going into Biden's election?
Both. Yeah.
Okay.
Seeing as how it was coming from China in the first place, the actual virus, and it was documented that it was created there.
No.
Funded by Fauci.
No. This came out of Donald Trump's
butt. They have a vested interest in getting Biden in because that was probably one of the ways to get Trump out, because he was pushing away. So
you're saying that it was planned?
I
mean, that's a conspiracy theory from hell. And stop. And I mean, I like to dabble with them. I like to talk about the conspiracy theories, but I don't want to lean into them too hard because, but plus, well, in the same way that when you get into an argument with, say, a liberal, all they have to do to shut you down and say racist. Well, in that same breath, or in that same vein, all anybody has to do,
conspiracy
theory bullshit. Alex Jones, gay frogs.
Yeah,
Sandy Hook. Yeah. So and that's. I mean, I'm not afraid to talk about it. I just don't want to be labeled a conspiracy theorist just because I talk about it.
Yeah.
Because you speak the
truth. It's a theory.
Yeah.
Theory.
What's a lot of? I mean,
a lot of that can be backed up.
We don't know that this shit was planned. There is zero evidence that it was planned. Now you can compile a bunch of data and say that that's evidence. Stop. That's not.
Regardless,
we don't know that.
There's going to be there could be another outcome if Trump overturns the election. Trump is going to move us away from all of
Jason
the medical,
Bentley said to give Tammy a mic.
He's going to move us away from all the advice of the CDC, the medical advisors. He was already pushing for us to open back up. He was pushing for alternative therapies. And at the same time, which is very confusing to me, he's pushing vaccine therapy and warp speed and military delivery.
He's never been one to pander to his audience as far as giving him, the media says this. Well, he's like, yeah, what the media said. But, when it comes to the vaccine, I think he's pandering to the audience. I don't think he gives a flying fuck about a vaccine personally.
Yeah.
I don't think he plans on taking it. I don't think he's like, they want a vaccine. It's the only thing that's going to shut them up. Give them a vaccine, and I'll act like I give a shit.
Yeah. Well, how about one of the, it was probably in, I'm going to say June, early June, maybe, but there's a press conference that he did that they were waiting for him to, I think, show up. And it was one of the news agencies, I think CNN or somebody. And they were talking with one of the staffers that was setting the room up. And it was on a hot mic. They were actually recording live on the internet, not on TV. But they were discussing, it turns out the CDC says the death rate is 99%, less than we thought. So we've all got the vaccine anyway, so it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Alluding to the fact that a certain group of people already have been inoculated. And that was a live feed. And it was a well-respected news anchor from one of these media agencies discussing with a staffer that they had already had the vaccine anyway, so it doesn't matter. So did they already have a vaccine? I mean, and, Pfizer came out and said they're 90% effective vaccine. They had a few stumbling blocks during the process of their trials. And coincidentally, before they made the announcement of them having a 90% effective vaccine, the CEO dumped about 60% of its stock.
I seen where he did something like, wasn't it like 5 point something million worth of stock or something like that?
Yeah. So, I mean, what is he preparing for? I mean,
well, the interesting thing is that, and this vaccine that this company in Germany developed, the one that they're actually working on now, the one that they're going to release, I guess, pending FDA approval, whatever.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is going to go right through.
Oh yeah.
Since doesn't Fauci's wife is the one who approves of that shit. So
yeah, she's actually, I think, on the FDA board.
Yeah. So excuse me. That company was just a little German lab company, and they basically developed this on their own. But if everybody heard that, yeah, we got a vaccine, where from? Is it like from
Wyoming?
No, is it from like Pfizer, like a big name? Yeah. Well, no, it's from a little company in Germany. I'm not taking that shit. It's got to be. I want that Gucci. Well, so Pfizer companies jumped in with them.
Yeah.
To put their brand on it, and I'm sure they have exponentially more resources to help get this moved along. But at the end of the day, it was that small little company in Germany who came up with this. It wasn't Pfizer. They just kind of helped expedite the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, whatever.
It's like Bob the vehicle, and Chrysler decides to put their name on it and sell it.
Yeah.
But all these vaccine companies,
hold on. This is hilarious.
They have immunity to prosecution if there's any liability at all. If there's any damages and or, God forbid, death due to the COVID vaccine, they're completely off the hook. And they've been off the hook throughout the production of vaccines throughout history. So that begs the question. I mean, the taxpayers are paying for the actual development of this through funding through the government. So they're going to have the taxpayers pay for the vaccine, and they're going to mandate that we take the vaccine without actual extensive 20-year testing, which they normally do on vaccines. And then they're going to have zero liability when there's any kind of problem with it, whether that be death and or neurological, spinal difficulties. A lot of these companies that have actually done testing have had some major setbacks. I mean, dead people. In Korea, I think South Korea, they came out with a vaccine, and as a result, 58 people in the testing group died. I don't know what the other factors were involved with it, but
when I heard them say, was it last week or was it earlier this week that, it was Monday that they announced the vaccine conveniently.
Yeah.
I think Pfizer was like, well, we didn't want to play politics with our announcement. And that's why they waited to Monday to do it. It's like, okay.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's fucking,
convenient.
Well, you holding that information it did exactly that. It played politics.
That gives Biden a torch to say we defeated the vaccine. Once they get in office,
so all day Monday I'm at work and I'm listening to the news on XM radio and shit on my phone, and all I hear is they're 90% effective. Even the flu shot's only 40 to 50% effective, and well, they tell everybody to take that one. Well, I still don't fucking take it. I went into Kroger the other day and they said free flu shot.
Yeah.
How is that happening? I'm not giving you my insurance information. I'm not even telling you my fucking name.
They're supposedly going to make the vaccine free also.
So, but they're like, 90% effective. This COVID vaccine is 90% effective. And I'm like, what's been over 99% effective? Fucking COVID.
Yeah.
It's not killing everybody.
Yeah. Well,
what do you trust more? I think I'd rather roll the dice.
Well,
I'm in that risk category where I can roll the dice.
Ticketmaster came out and said they're going to revamp their policy of you being able to attend any of their concerts by proving that you have already had the vaccine.
Who said this?
Ticketmaster.
Oh,
one of the largest, concert venues. And I get that, close quarters, you're in a concert. They want to make sure that nobody's at risk of getting COVID from each other, and so they're protecting their empire.
I think we saw that there is absolutely zero concern for that Saturday when there were parties everywhere for Biden. Everybody drinking out of the same champagne bottle and no masks and social not social distance, not basically being fucking hypocrites.
Yeah, Chuck Schumer and even Lightfoot there. She's celebrating.
She's locking shit down right now.
Yeah, 2 days later, she's announcing lockdowns and she's in the streets with everybody else. So.
Fuck your Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well, it's not just hypocritical. They know.
Beetlejuice looking bitch.
They know that there is no threat, and they're going to continue this agenda of fear. And everybody's on board with it. Everybody that doesn't really know what's going on. And there's a growing number of people that are beginning to see through the facade of what this COVID represents. Now, having said that, I think there's a large portion of the population that really understands this COVID thing is really not a threat. I think they understand that it was actually manufactured, whether it was released by accident and or on purpose, who knows? But I think what is eventually going to happen, they're going to call a mutation in the COVID, and there's going to be a COVID-21, just like the movie they're actually coming out with. They're telling us what they're going to do before they actually do it. It's called predictive programming. And
they did
what's
that.
going to come out next is going to be far worse. And I don't think it's going to actually be a mutation of this virus. I think they're actually going to create something. And then we will be screwed, because then they'll say, well, see, we told you,
open that door.
There was just a report that came out from a Canadian who was to remain anonymous, but Dr. Shiba, who ran for office, I think in New Jersey, he's a medical doctor, but he was talking about how
opposed to Jill Biden, who's not a medical doctor.
Yeah.
For all you idiots going, oh, can't wait to have a MD doctor as first lady. Fucking retards.
Oh, yeah.
She's got an ED, an educational doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, she's his second wife. The first wife died in a car accident.
I know, but it's his wife still.
Yeah.
I think he fucking killed her, right? Yeah, let's just say that.
Well, okay.
I'm just playing. I don't know. Why not?
Yeah.
Wait. Allegedly, it's a conspiracy theory.
I'll go with that.
Racist.
He killed the wrong family member. He should have killed Hunter because he's out
you know,
there screwing everything.
I told the wife that like a month ago. I was like, I
Yeah.
guarantee Joe Biden has uttered these words, if not to himself. God took the wrong kid.
All right, just to be clear, Secret Service, we're not implicating that we're going to kill Joe Biden or anything like that. So don't come to our
I
house.
just saying that he uttered the words to himself that God took the wrong kid.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Of course, it came out like this.
I really think this is my prediction, and I don't like to be right. I don't want to be right. I hope I'm wrong, but I think either they're going to completely snowball Joe Biden in with all the voter fraud that's been proven. They got cases right now. They're going to somehow get him in, and the public's going to overwhelmingly support that through the mainstream media, CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, MSNBC, Fox. He's even on board with president-elect. So they're going to snowball that in, or Trump is actually going to take the presidency due to his legal actions.
That's a long shot, but yeah.
And as a result, the people that were celebrating in the street for their victory of Biden are going to go ape shit. And we're going to see an eruption of chaos like we've never seen before. Those two scenarios I see very clearly happening in my mind. And I don't know which way it's going to go, but I mean, the writing's on the wall. Everybody knows this is likely what's going to happen. Now, if Biden gets office, he's going to shut everything back down. There is no bones about it.
Well, that's what his COVID czar, who's looked a guy up. He got ran out of Washington, D.C. last time he was in there with everybody fucking pointing at him and laughing.
I think that was the plan all along.
Everybody that Biden has already picked for his cabinets and all his other bullshit positions is just they used to work for fucking Obama. It's the same. Yeah. It's part 2, technically part 3.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, somebody said something about. I heard somebody mention that he's talking about Hillary for
Secretary of State again, maybe.
No, I forget what the fuck. Anyway, just come on, man.
Yeah, she did a great job.
Yes, Ben. These are pod mics. I leave the SM7Bs in the house. I don't bring them out here where we're smoking and stuff. So I smoke, and if I get a little on this mic, who cares? It's $99. I'll throw it out.
Hey, we're smokers here.
Hey,
we're smoking a cigarette. You know. Hey, let me smoke a cigarette.
So
that's my wild prediction of what may happen.
His czar is already talking about 4 to 6 weeks, lockdown, and I've heard somebody say something about that the vaccine's not going to be available for us until maybe March or April, and that they may discuss locking us down until then. And it's like, well, I got news for you. I got about 5,000 rounds in there that fucking promises you I'm not taking a vaccine.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I don't need it, dude. I've already had COVID. I don't fucking need your vaccine.
It's just every single year there's some type of invisible fear we should bow down to, whether that's terrorism, whether that's drug and the war on drugs, whether that's this pandemic.
By the way, I'd like to go ahead and congratulate drugs for winning the war on drugs.
Thank you, drugs.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job. You win an award.
Yeah.
What's your take on these award shows to kind of get off of all the politics and the COVID bullshit? The other night, I guess there was the Country Music Awards or something. I don't care. I don't watch it. I did hear that they
CMA or something.
That they kind of came out and said, after the celebrations that they seen for Biden's win, which by the way he didn't win. That was an AP announcement, not anything official. But anyway, go ahead and dance in the streets all you want. I mean, I don't really give a fuck who wins. My life's gonna suck either way. So I mean, not to be fucking black-pilled, but it is what it is. Just so they had come out and said, with all the shit we've seen over the weekend, everybody dancing out in the streets and whatnot, let's go ahead and start concerts back up. And I kind of agree.
Well, I mean, Ticketmaster's got the solution. Just make sure you have your vaccination or you don't get a ticket.
Yeah, but that involves like contact tracing, or you're gonna get a barcode on the back of your neck. What?
I don't know. I mean, if you're a God-fearing man, this all goes back to Revelations and the whole biblical thing, which a lot of people, I mean, this is God's country. So there's a lot of people that believe that vaccination represents you taking that sign. So there's that.
So, but okay, I could give absolutely two shits about country music. And I could even give less than three shits about award shows. What's your take on award shows?
Well, I mean, it's rich people that have been bred and groomed into this industry,
The system.
Yeah, that played ball, did whatever they had to do to get to the top, whether that was stepping on the skulls of other people, other artists, other talented artists, and they're patting themselves on the back. Look at me, I got this reward, and they already know who's going to get it next year, and they just, keep passing it around. It's like the presidents, they keep passing that big joint around. Oh, it's your turn. Here, hit this, and you can be president for a while. I mean, that's my take on it.
Yeah, I've never been a fan. I think I talked about this with my prior co-host Derek on Metal and Mortgages. That I've never been a fan of the awards show. I think it's just a big bunch of fanfare and pats on the back for people who already have a glorified life.
How about, what was it, the Emmys? I don't know if it was this year or last year, but they were like advocating and handing out shots, and there was like mock doctors going around giving people flu shots.
Oh, really? No, I don't watch them. I don't watch the shows. The only one I recall was earlier this year. I guess Ricky Gervais did a monologue at the beginning.
Oh, yeah,
and he
slaughtered him.
I was like, I kind of applauded that. I only watched that part of it because I didn't care about the rest of it, but good for him, and anybody else like that. Good for them for having the balls to actually go against the grain.
Well, he sat up there with his drink as he was drinking it and said, "This is the last fucking show I'll do anyway." So he knew his time at that show was over. So
I'm gonna address comments if it's all right. We've got a few. I'm a little behind here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep the conversation flowing, but I also want to pay homage to the viewers that are actually typing in comments to us. So let's see. I'll go a little bit back.
Glad you got a handle on that, because I'm.
Oh, I don't. I actually wanted to get the wife to do this shit, but I didn't have time to go over how to do it because I barely even know. So let's see. My buddy Dave from the Man Brain podcast, he says, "Is there a vaccine against douchebag facial hair?"
Yeah, I think it's.
Are you talking to me or him?
Nair.
Because that was a hit at one of us. Oh, wow. I'm gonna guess probably both.
It's No Shave November, so.
And my wife's good friend, Lisa, she's a awesome human being, one of the good ones. Yeah. Let's see. She says that she'll never go to a concert again. And then I guess while we were talking about that, she said it's Agenda 21. Can you briefly, like, short, what is Agenda 21? That's kind of come and gone, hasn't it? Because now they're focused on Agenda 2030, right?
Yeah, Agenda 2030. It's basically the United Nations master plan of unifying the entire world,
through globalism,
vaccination programs, through culling people into
climate change bullshit,
urban areas and that are manageable, and we're all under one guise of one rule.
So it's an early that came out in the 90s, didn't it? Like the early mid 90s.
The scary thing is like 160 something nations have signed on to this.
Signed on to it, yeah.
And that was
there's some kind of a chart of everybody who's kind of and it all points to to the middle, and all these names that are just blow your mind if you look that up. Agenda 21, who all signed up to it. Now I think that's come and gone because they've kind of abandoned that for the Agenda 2030, right? Yeah. Or am I way off? Are those two different things?
No, Agenda 2030 is an adaptation of the older one.
So it's an adaptation of Agenda 21.
Yeah, now they're in lockstep with the World Economic Forum, which is also coming out talking about the global economic reset, which is this concept of coupled with the Agenda 2030, they want to completely redo the monetary system across the board and across the world. And you're going to either go with it or you this new revelation. And they're using COVID as an excuse to
their
push
goal.
that agenda.
Their goal. Well, they're trying to ride that camel's back. Their goal is basically globalism, one unified digital currency for the whole planet, right?
Yeah.
That kind of shit.
Well, that's one of the things that
one book of rules for all.
Back in
Code of Hammurabi,
around September, before COVID broke out last year, Trump stood up at Davos, the meeting of the minds of the world, some of the richest and most powerful entities in the world, and basically said, I'm going to focus on America. I'm going to concentrate on America, and I'm not going to be part of this big boys club of what you guys want. And he said the same thing in a UN general meeting to all the nations. Like, I see where you're going with this, and I appreciate what you want, but we're going to focus on America. And shortly after, COVID came and fucked us all up. Excuse my French.
I'm fine.
So you got, it begs the question.
See, I beat COVID to fucking me all up, because I fucked me up long before COVID came around.
Certification of vaccination identification 2019, maybe. I don't know.
Lisa also said that the media declared 3 previous election winners that never were. 1, Dewey versus Truman. That was before my time. Gore versus Bush, and Clinton versus Trump. Well, I mean, the media is wrong a lot these days. I mean, they're going to continue to just get shit wrong.
Well, they keep saying president-elect, but there's been no determination as to who the winner is, period. I mean, I don't care what every single media station says, they have not declared it officially. So for them to advocate and ask Trump to just go ahead and concede, because we've already determined based upon our, numbers, that he's the new president.
Where's that button at?
Oh, it's right here. It's just asinine. And they're all across the board saying it, which is...
I do not know how to get this TV to stay on this image without going to sleep, other than play with the remote over here underneath the table.
It's like
I've been playing with myself too. I'm glad it's dark over here. You can't see what I'm doing. So, see some more comments. The wife is talking with her friend there. That's nice. Ben from Small Town Mentality podcast. They're probably going live. What time is it? Yeah, they're going live in about 15 minutes, but stay here and then go to him when we're done. Let's see. He says your studio is really nice though. Yeah, this is just part of it, but thank you. I threw this together. This was not planned. I had to put different lighting.
You should have heard the
It was a nightmare. Oh well, I'm a diva,
know,
and when things don't go my way.
See how angry that face looks? That's the way he was cussing.
That's why. Well, actually, I probably can't see that. It's all white. It's all blocked out. Like you can't see it. It's all whitewashed.
Yeah.
I gotta dial on a lot of shit. So let's see. My friend Manbrain Dave, he says that Soft, which is another guy, wants to know if we finished high school.
No, actually, I didn't.
I not only finished it, I went back for seconds.
Yeah. Actually,
I'm not making it up. Really?
Yep.
Why? Just work, or you just hated school?
Well, I hated school. They sent me to a school, the Stepper Wives school with the football team and the cheerleaders, and I was a head, listening to Metallica and blah blah blah. But my mom said, "Well, if you're not going to do what you're supposed to do," now, mind you, all throughout school, I was in all the gifted classes until I discovered weed. But at that point at 16, she was like, "Well, you're not going to do good in school, then go to work." So I worked 3 jobs, gave 80% of my money to my mom, and spent the rest on weed. But I went back and got my GED.
Well, weed back then was like $20. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
like it wasn't nothing.
Yeah, I worked 3 jobs, and
minimum was what, around like
$4.
I think when I got my first job, it was $3.35, and like right after that, it jumped up to $3.85.
Yeah,
and then
when it started.
About a year after that, it jumped up to $4.25.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all you bitches are you're $7.50 an hour, oh, $15. Fuck off. but you know, there's back then the amount of expendable income that a regular like professional had, somebody who went to college for 4 years, had just a engineering job or whatever, they had this much expendable income on that graph, you know, that was left over after paying, rent or mortgage, car payment, insurances, food, clothing, etc. You had like over right at half of that amount of money in the expendable, like left over to invest, go on a vacation, go get some whores, whatever you want to do, right? Party, whatever.
Not anymore.
Now the powers that be figured out that we had that much, that they had that much, and they just raised the prices of everything and kept your wages low, and then that's gone.
Yeah, well,
there's nothing left.
The buying power of the dollar dwindled.
I could not fucking imagine being in my 20s, even with a college degree today and a good job, looking for a house, because dude.
I'm glad
for
I
a
didn't go to
piece of
college.
shit, it's $150,000.
I mean, colleges are it's like what was the movie where it was
Back to School?
No, it was Matt Dillon in the movie where he was.
You'll get no respect.
How you like them apples? He was a janitor and he was doing complex mathematical problems on the board.
Somebody in the chat will tell me.
But college has become
that was
Goodwill Hunting.
Goodwill Hunting. See, y'all are slow.
I mean, I went to libraries when I was a kid. I mean, when everybody else was going out partying, drinking beer, I was going to the Chamber of Commerce library, looking up export, import, manuals. So, you can get an education not in the educational system, but you can't get a certificate. So, I mean, there's two ways to be smart. You can pay for this education and this indoctrination that these professors advocate for, this socialist and Marxist type view, and try to train your children how to uprise against the government, or you can learn the amount
of and I pardon me, I don't know all the terminology and shit. I'm a painter, dude.
You're a very good
I'm so
painter,
far
Bob.
out of college. It's
these colors
it's
like
not
the
even
back of your hand.
Funny. It's not even funny, right?
Yeah.
So there's so many colleges that take money. So you got a flask, you can share that shit. We're drinking. It's okay to drink. It's okay.
There may be
you live a mile up the road. You can even drive the ditch all the way there if you needed to. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So the amount of colleges that have money given to them by big food, big pharma, etc., influencers, to influence the curriculum even is astounding if you look into that. So
Harvard's got like $40 billion in their coffers. They don't know anymore, I don't think. But when the 2008 crisis happened, every industry took a hit. It was the mortgage industry that actually caused the crisis.
Yeah,
fake mortgage.
Well, it was that subprime loans that fucked everybody.
But the only industry that didn't take a hit was colleges.
Yeah,
they kept all of their money and they increased tuitions.
Well, that's another issue too with the whole like the free college shit. Is who's that going to benefit really?
Well, what does that do to the
psyche? It's going to benefit the colleges
of everybody that worked their ass off, and paid for their own college by waiting tables and washing cars. And then now all of a sudden they're in their 50s and they got a shitty job. They're not making enough.
They'll cut me a check. If they'll cut me a check for $20,000 plus interest, because I paid off my student loans about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So $20,000 plus interest. All right. Plus all the interest I paid.
Yeah.
Y'all can give free college to whoever the fuck you want, but I want my money back.
Well, I mean, it's just crazy that they want to change the rules midstream and zero compensation for the ones that paved the way for us to have, the people that got the GI Bill and went into the military and fought for our country, and they're going to just disregard all those circumstances and say, well, okay, everybody's free now. Maybe in a perfect world that'll work. Maybe in a socialist world that'll work. You know, maybe the government can control all of our gas stations and all of our fuel and dictate who gets what food and when they get
rations.
But, you know, this is a free market America, and we are free to make choices so far. And when you start implementing these ideas of where we're going to dictate to you how you're going to live your life, what you're going to have to pay for, what you're not going to pay for, what the quality of your Medicare, your medical care, who you can go see, who you can't. When they start taking those choices away from us, we're no longer a free society. And that's slowly what they're trying to introduce. These
when you look at what's and I don't want to get into a long, drawn out thing about this, but with this comment, I don't, because this can open up a can of worms. But when you
everything's a can of worms. It's 2020.
When you look at what the media's peddling and what like social media's peddling, what they're doing, everything is we're no longer free.
Well, yeah. Well, when whoever controls the narrative controls the minds of the people, and you don't have to make the laws, or you don't have to be in power. But if you have a platform to be able to control what people perceive as reality, then you can actually change outcomes of the way society interacts with each other, interacts with politics, interacts with the financial system. It's an extremely powerful mechanism and is being abused at an unprecedented rate. I don't know if anybody knows this, but in 2012, Obama quietly went away with this, I think it was a Smith-Munn Act, where it was illegal for the U.S. government to use any media, any newspaper, any outlets to propagandize American citizens. Now, they can use that mechanism in foreign countries, but not on American people. Well, that act went away as of 2012, and as a result, you see where we're at, and you can see it on TV across the board.
Yeah,
and you got tech companies who are heavily invested in China. If you want to do business in China, you have to do business China's way, and China has a giant, massive economic market that a lot of companies, Google, Facebook, Twitter, all of these companies want to become a part of and want to benefit from. But it begs the question, if they overstep whatever guidelines China sets out, do they stand to lose that market of what they've already developed? And as a consequence, does that mean China has an influence over these companies, which could influence our country? All those questions come into play because you have two of the biggest economic powers in the world, and they're all vying for power. We've been on top for 50, 60 years of this food chain of human society, and China's nipping at the heels, and they're willing to lie, cheat, steal,
but
do whatever they can.
But is there not room for all of us, though?
In God's world, yes. In God's world, yes. But unfortunately, man is tainted by this greed and lust for power, and they have no
I'm not. I just want
for me, that's kind of my take on it. And we already seen that Biden's been influenced, and they keep talking about Trump being a national security risk because he's a loose cannon. Well, I hate the fact that people consider his personality as to why they hate him with such hatred, because the media has portrayed him in that light. So now you personally connect with this man because he looks or acts a certain way, but you don't look at his policies and what it's done for the nation and how it's improved it up until COVID, mind you, which China released, mind you. These are dangerous ideas. I'm not looking at your work as to how well you painted that room, or how much passion you put into it, or how much money you saved me. I'm looking at your little ticks of Bob looks like this and Bob paints like that, and I can't stand Bob.
What'd you say about me?
What does that have to do with the way you performed what you're supposed to do? I think the room is beautiful, Bob. I think it's, colorful. You got every line perfect. Why am I dissecting your personality as a measure of, what you're doing for me? And that's what
you're a hater.
Most of the people are doing. And it's not the media is programming you to think that way. And they're highly effective. They use stuff like, I think it was the Jacob guy that got shot in Wisconsin, which spawned a riot and protest in Wisconsin. What they would do, they would talk about him and they wouldn't show the actual complete footage of him getting shot.
No.
And then they would immediately say something about Trump. And then following that, say something about white nationalists, and all the same context where you and the subconscious mind heard Jacob, white nationalist, Trump. And so your mind associated those things together, even though they had nothing to do with each other.
Right.
But that's how they play you. It's I think it's neurolingual programming, and it's highly effective technique to get people to think a certain way with a certain dialect of how you propose what you're trying to explain. Anyway, that was a whole freaking mouthful. What was your question again?
So I'm going to roll down some comments. Quickly, what do you think? Jason Bentley asked this a while ago, and I apologize. It's taken me this long to get to it. What is y'all's opinion on the ammo shortage? I think it's like toilet paper. I think it's people that are all hoarding this shit. They're like, how many you got? I'll take all of them,
I think Remington, which is the largest ammunition manufacturer in America, I don't know if they restructured their bankruptcy, but they were having some major problems. And as a consequence, it created a shortfall in the market. And then you have an overwhelming demand because of civil unrest. And, during Obama's administration, he was buying up ammunition off the market like crazy. He was the greatest gun salesperson in the history, So, I mean, all those factors culminating together is basically what's creating this supply and demand issue. And I think it will continue to get worse if I think they said all of the gun manufacturer stocks went through the roof with the announcement of Joe Biden president-elect, because he's openly, and so is Kamala Harris, talked about whatever the frick her name is, talked about ratcheting down gun rights and taking dangerous AR-15s off the market. And so that's been their agenda and their war cry for a long time. So when you have the media coming out and saying overwhelmingly, this is going to be your new president, as a result, people were going out and saying, I'm going to buy everything I can
What up, Brian?
before he gets in office and possibly takes it away from me. So all those factors culminating together are driving the market, driving the demand, and as a consequence, causing this shortage. So,
well, yeah. So it's I think also it's like toilet paper. Like my nephew said in here in the chat. My nephew's in here on Facebook, which is weird because he's not a boomer, and Facebook is for boomers. But
yeah,
he says everybody bought ammo prior to the election, and the customers caused the shortage. And that's what I said. It's kind of like toilet paper, man. Everybody's like, oh, me.
Now, when it comes to ammo, we're getting ready.
Well, there's been a surge.
I'm sorry, but if I buy a shitload of toilet paper, I'm getting ready because I plan to do some shitting.
Yep.
Well, just
okay then.
The civil unrest alone.
Of course, I find toilet paper in apartments.
The civil unrest alone has been a giant driving factor of why there's been a shortage. Because,
that's the point I don't get though.
Yeah.
I've got more rounds than I can shoot at one time, like in one weapon. Like what am I gonna do?
I think there's like 394 million guns owned in America.
Is that all?
Makes it the largest private militia in the world. But there was over 5 million new gun buyers this year.
All right.
Meaning they've never owned a gun. They're probably Democrat, scared through their crap. So I mean, that's a testament to the media's portrayal of these, protests. When you see a fire behind a newscaster and he's saying peaceful protest, People aren't stupid. I mean, they understand inherently things could progressively get worse, and they're trying to protect themselves and their
Can
family.
you read the comment we got going on over there?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
I'm just saying,
Got another comment.
like you said,
CIA started the
how
word
they can
conspiracy
make
theorist
all of us do what they
just to
want.
discredit. Yeah, exactly.
I agree with that. Yeah. Actually, it's in their documentation. Yeah. It's
So we're either heading for a war, civil war. Are we heading
No.
for a civil war?
No. I think
We're
it'll.
being parted.
I think in the beginning, if the shit hits the fan, as they say, I think it'll be more of a case. And I really haven't put any thought into this until just now. So
well, I mean,
take this with a grain of salt. But as you know, we may start day one going against each other, but it won't take long for us to like figure out that we're really on the same team, and that we need to be fighting them.
oh yeah, Bob. Have you seen CBS, NBC,
Have
the
you
people
seen-
celebrating in the streets? I don't think people understand that we're supposed to be together. I think they're completely
wise guy.
brainwashed. You know.
Oh yeah, wise guy.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Then we're not going to learn because you look in the hood, they're killing each other, and it's been like that for years, and they still haven't.
Yeah,
learned.
but they're doing it over different shit though, and they don't give a fuck.
Well,
It just tells you how
They're not
stupid
doing
they
it because you know, China is coming to take your fucking home from you.
well, they're going to take the landmarks, the bridges, the buildings.
Well, they already own that shit.
Yeah.
I don't care about
Obama
that
was
shit.
selling like ports, U.S. ports to them, control. You know, it's inevitable. It's going to take place. I don't care if Trump's in office or Biden's in office, because there's too many powerful mechanisms at play here that want this one unity of government, one law, one money, and they're going to do whatever they can to crash the only thing standing in their way, which is 394 million guns in America and our democracy. And if they can do anything to throw a monkey wrench in that, to get us on board with this economic reset, with this COVID tracking and tracing, with this absolute total control, they're going to pull out all the stops. That's why the Democrats have been cheating every single moment they can. They have been for a while, but now it's extremely blatant. From dead people voting to, 10 ballots per person being sent out, to software being manipulated at an unprecedented level. Donald Trump tweeted out that 2.7 million votes were either switched or deleted from his, his ballots to Biden's ballots.
That was an early estimate. They did another tally, and it was something like 3.4 million.
Yeah, that's a staggering
votes.
number.
Yeah.
When you have like,
well, I mean, what it is, they have
ballots.
all of these reports, these charts that, state by state, and there were votes that were switched, and then there were votes that were not counted at all because they, like, I think they call them lost votes.
Yeah. Well, they're disqualified. And
I mean, there were also states that actually allowed. Huh?
Oh, darn it, my phone went dead, and Kurt had something interesting to say.
Well, I already showed it.
The thing that kills
Yeah,
me.
It's on the screen. Look,
He was saying
it's on the screen.
when you're labeled a conspirator,
It's on the screen.
The thing that kills me about
it
the
up there.
election is it should be unanimous across the board, whether you're right or left, whether you're conservative, liberal, doesn't matter. If there was any chance that the election could have been manipulated by either big tech, computer systems, a foreign nation,
Individuals,
anybody, any circumstance,
anybody who was anti the other side,
it begs the question, what are you voting for? Why does your vote matter? And that should be the single reason why every American should advocate for, let's make sure it's correct. I don't care if it's a kangaroo and voting for office. I mean, not voting for office, but that's going to be in office. If he didn't get elected fairly, then what are we voting for every single 4 years? That should be their number one thing, and not well, Trump should just shut up. He's a crybaby. He lost. That's what the media is telling people to think and act and brainwashing them to believe. because they have an agenda to get their person in office. Because, I mean,
thank you, sweetheart.
They've long been bought out and directed by the CIA, and they've been used by the CIA for a long time. So that's what I would like to say to anybody and everybody listening is, if you give up this one entity of the American freedom that we all enjoy, is to be able to collectively decide who we want to lead, and you let somebody take that by cheating, however they did it, then you're just fooling yourself that you'll ever have any freedom. Because if they take a little step and they push you until they stop, they're going to take another step.
I mean, the other thing
until they stop
too is, you know, a kid goes into a candy store when he's 5 years old, and his mom's like, I'm not buying you that, put that back. And he puts it in his pocket and he makes it out the door with it. What does that teach the kid?
Well, it teaches him that he can get away with it. And he's
exactly.
Try it again.
So what's he going to do next time? And that's exactly what this is. This is a case of, they did it once, they're going to fuck you again. And it's not going to be so fun when you're the one that's bent over.
Well, they have already proved it with COVID. You know, let's stand and 6 feet apart. Let's put the mask on. It's been scientifically proven the mask is just about as good as me wearing a pair of jeans and saying, you can't smell my fart. You know, viruses are almost like a nanoparticle in nature. So these masks aren't doing shit, but it gives you the illusion and a compliance that you're actually saving. I'm doing this for you, Bob, because I don't want you to get whatever germs I have. And then they talk about the word super spreader. And I mean, these are all just.
What do you think of that comment?
Well, you know, I guess if
a little bit of truth, maybe.
I don't know, man.
God save the Queen.
Yeah. God being the operative word there.
Oh, we got a new one here. Let's see. This one's a little long. I'll read it for fun.
Sure.
I don't need these glasses for that, though. The left used reverse psychology on their followers to promote victim mentality by emotionally manipulating them and bringing up the past. They would start a civil war if Trump is declared the winner. Yeah, I've actually heard this. I'm not going to say where. Somebody I know very well said that a coworker of hers who is of African-American descent or color, he basically let her know that in his, I guess, group of acquaintances, it is common knowledge that if Trump somehow pulls this election out of his ass and gets the W, that white people better watch it. If you're going to the grocery store and you're walking in or out, you are a target for them.
Well, yeah, they published there's actually a website that publishes everybody that made a donation to the Trump campaign, and it shows a map of their house and their address.
Yeah. I looked on that and nobody on my street and nobody in the neighborhood next to me.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny. But I was like, well, but if I change that over to sexual predator, oh, look, there are a couple.
So you see how powerful that is. The media has inadvertently brainwashed us to go against each other versus going against them, which they've been fucking us for a long time, and they will continue to. And they want us fighting amongst each other and disregarding what they're doing as a consequence. And we're going to be our own demise because they've effectively brainwashed people into believing there is some type of racial tension. I mean, we live in probably one of the most assumed racist places in the country because of our history.
You mean this place right here?
Yeah. I mean, I go in the store and everybody's great to me. I mean, I open the door for everybody. And it doesn't matter what color you are. There's no fundamental groups of hatred.
No, there's actually a slight element of civility left in this area.
Yeah. I mean, it's the deep South. So we're,
not all that deep, but yeah.
Yeah. But every year they come out with one more element of, we're going to remind you of this history that you can't change, and you should endure some type of privilege because of it, and blame another race for for a privilege that they take advantage of.
I like
The
throwing things
regular
at the
working
camera.
people aren't talking about this stuff. The regular working people of middle America, of all across the board of the economy, are just trying to make a living. We're not trying to fight with each other. There's no racial divide. We're all trying to get our money. It's the people at the top with all the money that are advocating these ideas and stirring the pot. And the music industry, the movie industry, they're all coming out with documentaries and movies alluding to the fact that you should remember this horrible circumstance that is dividing us right now. And it's highly effective because it's constantly in the back of people's minds.
So maybe it would be a good thing to get to let them take the wheel for a little while. Let them see that shit happens no matter who's in the fucking, no matter whose address, or no matter who is at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Well, yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It could be your grandma. Guess what? It's still gonna be fucked up.
Yeah.
All right. It's as fucked up as you want it to be.
You're not going to.
It's just like coronavirus.
Human behavior dictates that there's element to you that you're going to be jealous. You're going to be lustful. You're going to have all these emotions that don't necessarily coincide with everybody. That's the beauty of us all being humans. We have our own way of thinking and our own beliefs.
What's up, Dino?
But,
I'm going to drop a comment for you. Tell me what you think of that.
It's a strategy to destabilize the country. It's pretty much what they did in Venezuela. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that. A nation divided will never stand. And it's the oldest trick in the book. You demoralize a nation. You inundate a nation with multicultural facets of people, and you don't have the infrastructure to support that. And you take God out of the country, and it's one of the oldest playbooks out of the KGB book. How you destroy a
Killer
nation.
Greenbud?
How you destroy a nation without firing a single shot. And it's all these social constructs. You know, they do it. The CIA has been doing it for years over in Ukraine, Uzbekistan. When they want somebody in power that is pro U.S. policy, they go to the youth. They go to the schools. They implement these social programs covertly, and they destabilize society in a civil manner and pit one ethnic group and or religious group against the other. And as a consequence, they look at their leader and overthrow their government as a consequence. They've been doing it forever. And I think they may be in play in this country, CIA, which is a foreign intelligence agency, which is not allowed to operate in the U.S. But I don't know. I mean, if you want to talk about deep state and their influence in their nation, they have incredible influence all around the world. What's to say they can't use it against us, our own citizens?
Do you know what she's talking about right there?
I'm not sure of the person she's speaking about, but there's been multiple warnings from actual presidents that have warned about the military-industrial complex. When Kennedy was talking about secret societies just before his death. So they all knew this powerhouse of money, black budget operations was going to actually eventually come to bite us over time. And we may very well be seeing that come to play right now in our own elections, in this orchestrated coronavirus pandemic, non-pandemic, no worse than the flu episode. And psychologically, they've had many, many years to practice this scenario. If a grocery store can figure out how to manipulate you so that a particular product in a particular color in a particular fashion in a position
and a song on the radio
can make you buy it, a grocery store, how the fuck do you think the CIA and the FBI and all these intelligence agencies haven't studied this human psychology for years and know how to manipulate it? What's to say it's not at play here?
When we play REO Speedwagons, Take It on the Run
backwards,
over the PA system in the grocery store, we sell a lot more Powerade. Yeah,
that could be a thing.
I mean, you know,
everything is subconscious. I mean, what you don't realize is subtly you pick up things and cues and behaviors and ideas without even recognizing. You don't even recognize it's happening, but subconsciously your mind picks up a lot more than your conscious does.
Tell you right now, I've never thrown a product in my basket, in my buggy, my grocery cart, whatever the fuck y'all call it, wherever you are across this planet, because I heard Etta James.
At last,
as not the song makes me feel good, but it ain't make me swiping my arm across the whole, you know, a shelf going knocking into my cart, baby.
Subconsciously, maybe
at last, I got all these snacks,
panties, you know, and you don't know why you're picking up the grandma panties. It's just I want to buy these because
I don't even eat lima beans. Why did I buy them?
You know, the subconscious mind is so powerful. I'll go into Walmart. I need to get some toothpaste. I'll go to Walmart and I'll have a grocery cart and I'll fill that son of a bitch up. And all I wanted was toothpaste. And I'll come up to the register and I have one thing of toothpaste and $85 for the stuff. And I'll say, I'm not buying anything. I've completely defeated the purpose of me coming here. They have entrapped me.
What is your off of politics again? What is your thoughts on the self-check lanes where you no cashier, nothing like that? My wife is 100% against them. She fucking hates them. She's like, they should pay me for working for them.
Well, I don't know if anybody's noticed where we're at, and I don't know if it's across the board corporately, but Walmart has, because of COVID, they use everything COVID excuse, but they've created self-checkout lanes, and you can only use digital currency credit cards. Now, that tells me two things. It tells me that they're going to push us to this digital currency and getting us used to the notion that you don't have a physical dollar in your hand, and automation where somebody else is going to be doing all the figuring for you, just like Siri, what's the weather today? Oh, it's sunny outside. So they know that automation is coming into play and it's going to actually take away multiple jobs. And they know that they're going to be doing away with actual physical currency and they're going to have a digital across the board. So they're trying to train us to behave in that manner. And it's just Walmart, but Walmart is the biggest retailer all across the world, has the most employees. So if the biggest retailer in the world is training us to behave in that manner and to think that way, then that's a forecast for what's going to be coming, whether you want it or not.
So I don't use, thanks to a guy named Andrew from the We Are Assholes podcast. He had told me about this app called WTF. What the Forecast? WT Forecast. Let's just go ahead and just read with the forecast real quick into the microphone, if you don't mind.
Sure. It could be warmer outside, but you could also have more giant bees on your porch. Count your fucking blessings. I like that forecast.
I mean, it's really cool. So
I guess there was a glitch in Siri, and
wish on a star, motherfucker. No, you can't have a giant battle spider named Christina. What the fuck, weirdo? I mean, it's a forecast right now. Yeah. WTF was it? Let me go back to what the app is called. WT Forecast. If you haven't done it's totally free. I actually paid for one called Dark Sky. My nephew told me about, and it's amazing. I actually use that, but sometimes when I want to laugh, I open up WT Forecast, and it's entertaining, man. I like it a lot.
There's 5 or 6 videos on YouTube that says they asked Siri, what is the president's birthday? And it says Kamala Harris was born in 1964. And I guess they fixed the glitch, but yeah, that was a thing for a couple of days. That was as soon as they nominated, or in the media's eyes, nominated President-elect Biden. I mean, if that's a forecast as to what's to happen, my prediction is if Biden gets in office, they're going to snowball us. He's going to get COVID. There's going to be a giant ceremony for 2 months of nonstop funeral coverage, and Kamala Harris is going to be president. Thank you.
All right, I want to read a message from Kurt.
Where's it at? I don't have it. I don't. What am I behind? I don't see. I haven't seen one from a Kurt in a while.
Captain Kurt.
Oh, here it is. Okay, go ahead. Oh, okay. I've got it right here. I can actually display it on the screen. It says, I've been telling my family this was coming for years. The Bible warns us of a one world government, and people will be forced to take the mark of the beast or be beheaded. I was hoping I wouldn't be alive to see it, but it's here. Trump may stand in the way 4 more years, but after that, it's coming. So, I mean, I don't, again, to me, that's a little bit on the conspiracy theorist side. But I mean, wife and I talked about this a while back about the cashless thing, back when I think Kroger announced that they would no longer be giving back change. So if you had an item that was $4.18 and you gave them a 5, you would just walk away empty handed, other than the item that you just paid for. You would just round it up for the St. Jude's or the next guy in line, whatever.
Yeah.
But we had talked about this, and I know they want to go cashless. I know that they have the ways and means to go cashless. I don't think that they're ready for the fight, because there will be a fight for cashless.
So
I don't think so. I think people will roll over. I think they're already talking about COVID being transferable on paper money, and they've been advocating for that for quite some time.
Yeah, but
that's the next logical step.
I think your average Joe Americans kind of already realizing, it's not really a fucking thing. I mean, if I can hand my debit card, okay, if I can be like, hey, here, scan
that.
Get your COVID at the drive-through, and they're like, all right, thanks, have a good day. What's the difference between that and cash? That card could have been in.
Keep track of every penny you make. Forget about working.
But I'm talking about COVID over here. All right, I could have done a cum tribute all over this card 2 hours ago.
Do you think the cashless society is a conspiracy, Bob?
Do I think a cashless society is a conspiracy? I think that there are powers that be across the planet who want that to be a thing. I think they want a digital currency, and I don't think that their reasoning is for the betterment of mankind. I think it's for control. But I don't think that as a whole everybody's on board. So I'm going to let wYzEgYe take the mic for a minute. I got to step outside and talk to somebody.
Okay. A man about a horse. I mean, you're not far off. There's been a lot of people coming out with videos talking about prophetic dreams, and they mention beheadings, and they mention marks in the Bible. These things are all foretold within the Bible, and it's up to your interpretation as to how you want to believe how that's going to manifest. But there's a lot of people saying that we are in this end times dynamic, and as a consequence, there's going to be many prophets. And in my view, I want to have faith in the administration of Trump, as if he's going to counter some of these entities that are pushing us toward this totalitarian government, Luciferian, whatever, Masonic, whatever you want to call it. But there lies the problem, because if you put your faith in another man, then you will fall from grace just like everybody else. I mean, if he's of this earth, God specifically says, be not lovers of this earth, be not of this earth. We are spiritual beings. So in my belief, I believe nobody's going to say this. I believe that prophecy will unfold, and however it's going to unfold. And the only real way for you to actually have any peace in your heart is to believe that God's going to figure it out for you. And it may be hard. We may be the ones beheaded as a consequence. But if you falter on what it is you believe true to your heart, then you won't die in vain. I mean, you'll live forever in heaven, So that gives me solace and peace when I go to sleep at night, because I understand fundamentally that there's nothing we're going to do to make any change of anything occurring. And if it was already foretold and you're a true believer, then the only thing you could do is understand the truth and not fall for the lies, because the Bible is pretty specific about the truth will be revealed always. And if you know the truth as God, then you'll know not to fall for the lies of any man, whether that's in a suit, whether that's on the street trying to sell you a stolen watch. So you have to carry that with you as you sleep, as you pray, whatever you want to believe in.
What if you believe in absolutely nothing, like the comment we have right now?
I have.
Well,
I have.
See, Christianity is the biggest conspiracy in
With the
history.
comment to Bob. This is
Man.
from Lisa.
Well, this one here.
Oh, which one? With his public.
COVID-1984 is just an excuse. If you eliminate cash, then your money will be tracked and even taxed on. You can't get around the government anymore. No more getting paid under the table. Well, I mean,
Well, you can't.
yeah,
buy your
but I mean,
drugs.
there's a lot of things. I mean, you can't buy, you can't buy meth, but I mean, you can just like Venmo people for meth, I guess,
You
right?
can't like pay the kid $20 for mowing your lawn. You can't give out.
Yeah, you can Venmo them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as a consequence, they can
Cash
actually
app.
tax every
If
single
you want to support Jack
digital dollar
fucked
you
up
have.
Dorsey.
And not only that, but they can track your behavior and your and monitor what you like, what you don't like.
So, I mean, do we go back to the barter system?
I mean,
No, I'm just saying. I mean, do you think that that'll make like a comeback?
in reality, our current currency system, even though we are the global reserve currency, it's based on a farce anyway. I mean, we're a fiat currency. They create money out of thin air. That's why we're in the trillions of dollars of debt, because it's not real. I mean, there's no gold standard backing it. I think the human labor based upon your birth certificate is actually what backs the US dollar. I think it was some type of agreement back in 1933 when they created, Social Security and the income tax and all these entities. I think we went bankrupt. And I think what they did was they bartered us, American citizens, at birth as the collateral for whatever guarantee of loans the Federal Reserve decided to loan to the American, government. But as a consequence, there is no real currency. I mean, if a bank can take 100% of your deposit and leave 10% of your money in the bank and loan out 90% of it, they basically just are using your money and creating more money and interest. I mean, that's pretty much creating money out of nothing. And they've been doing it for years. And that's the whole basis of our financial system. And if people actually understood that, the context of them creating money out of nothing, they would realize that we've been hoodwinked. I mean, we're debt slaves. No matter what kind of freedom you think you have of mobility, of decision making, we're still bound by the slavery of being in a debtor, because there's an actual monetary value attached to the debt that Americans owe to other countries, to these international banks. And I don't know what the current number is, but at one time it was like $70,000 per American citizen that owed, that if we all had to collectively pay the government debt, that's what personally we would owe as taxpayers, which is asinine to think about when they actually created this system of enslavement in the first place. And there is no actual value to the money in the first place. They just write numbers in a computer. And now you got algorithms that control and dictate a lot of the value of stocks and these companies, which are highly overflated. You got almost 0% interest rate. This is a system that perpetually has to grow upon more debt. Once you pull the rug out from under it, then A, we're bankrupt, and B, we're no longer the superpower of the world. And the only way we were able to gain that superpower financially is by making agreements with Saudi Arabia and other oil nations that every single country in the world would have to purchase oil, the most abundant and controlled commodity and needed commodity by every country, with U.S. currency. And everybody that's trying to challenge that, whether it was Saddam Hussein, who said he was going to start using euros to allow people to purchase his oil, or whether that was Gaddafi, who said he was going to create gold dinar with all the nations of Africa. All these people that challenge the hegemony of the U.S. dollar as the global currency, they met an early demise, and they called it, we're spreading democracy around the world. No, they actually created a challenge on the international market. Your dollar is not going to be the primary currency of the world anymore, and that's what China's vying for. They've been vying for. They created the BRICS with Russia and Brazil and more other nations. So that's really what it boils down to. And money really does make the world go round. And money is the reason these entities, Democratic, Republic, political, they're not in our interest. They're actually for the dollar. They're on the take, every single one of them.
So John Lennon got it wrong.
Yeah.
That fucker.
Well, he got it right, actually. But as a consequence,
why? Because he took a fucking bullet.
Because he understood fundamentally that love was the ultimate currency, and once humanity gets that and understands the power that we actually have,
yeah, but you can't buy a hooker with love.
Not in our system,
Hookers are not interested in love.
So we're a slave to the system of this earth. But
right.
That's just my take. I'm Ted Koppel.
The entire time you're over there talking, I'm going,
is he ever going to shut up?
No, I'm going, man, popcorn would be really good right now.
It would be. With a little bit of garlic on it.
No.
Yeah, I
just
know,
butter and salt.
Way overboard.
Nut job. So, I guess we'll go ahead and, this has been going for a little while. What the
hell?
What's your take on the election? Number one, I can just make it brief. Do you think it's rigged from one side?
Yeah.
Okay.
No doubt.
So what about the because every time you hear the media talk about voter fraud, they say, well, there's no evidence of widespread voter fraud. That's the phrase. It's actually phrased exactly like that. Yeah. So why do they use that exact phrase? Because there is evidence of voter fraud. Right. There's just not evidence of widespread voter fraud.
I mean, it's probably word association. They're going to minimize it, marginalize it, and deny it over and over. And when you say a lie big enough, it becomes the truth. Whether dude, that's subconscious.
Have you not? I don't have cable, so what I get of Fox News is very little. But like I said, it's like XM radio, that kind of stuff. And I go back and forth. I go around the entire spectrum when it comes to the news channels. Fox News has fucking lost their shit, dude.
Yeah, I think Rupert
Murdoch's, other than their like prime time TV shows like Tucker Carlson and Hannity and shit like that, who actually began in radio here back in the day, back in the 90s. Other than those shows, dude, they flipped.
They absolutely flipped. I think Paul Ryan became part of the board of Fox, and he had a vendetta against Trump in the first place. And he said he was going to try to do something about Trump, early on when he was put on the board. And I think Rupert Murdoch's, I think it's niece or daughter or something, once Biden won, she sent out a tweet, "We did it," one in the context of the media claiming him president. So yeah, I think they're all on board. I think big money, big tech.
Well, it's what I hear is this, and it's like every time that they go to say Joe Biden now, since last weekend, they're like, so yeah, President-elect Joe Biden. And if they start to say his name without prefacing it with President-elect Joe Biden, they act like there's somebody off camera who's got a gun trained on them that is about to pull the fucking trigger for them not using the term President-elect first.
Yeah, and it's reinforcement. I mean, you say it enough and people just believe it. I mean, regardless of whether it's true, whether there's any facts, like mask work. There's no scientific evidence. Actually, the New England Journal came out and said masks are not, effective unless you're in a medical facility. So they continue to reinforce these words, these concepts and ideas, and they say them so often that you can't distinguish between what's actually real and what's not. And they do it across the board: ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. Now, all the channels are in lockstep with this message, and it's one of the most powerful entities that can actually change policy, change financial, economic circumstances in the country. So, I mean, the American psyche is being manipulated right now, and I can't blame other people for falling under this guise of conditioning, because you put a rat in a certain environment with certain conditions, and they're going to follow a pattern that's very predictable. And we're a little bit smarter than rats, but we're being conditioned on a mass scale and in an environment that they control. So when you start looking at it from that perspective, you got to step back a little bit and say, wait a minute, why am I saying I hate blah or ABC? I'm just parroting what they tell me on TV. I don't really actually I didn't do any research. I don't know what's really going on, but I saw it on TV because this guy that comes on TV every night tells me the exact same thing. It must be true. Oh, and the other guy on the other channel was telling me the exact same thing. It must be true. It's on conditioning and environment, which they control. So I don't know if that answered the question.
And they're dividing us.
Well, yeah.
To stay fighting.
Yeah, let's pit them against each other so they don't focus on what we're doing.
Okay, who benefits from us being divided? Besides,
Okay, well,
those who enjoy this division. I mean, like foreign entities, foreign
intelligence agencies,
whatever, our own government, who benefits being divided.
It's hands down the banking industry. From what I believe there's a certain amount of families that have been in control for a long time, even going back to biblical times, and I think they pull the strings of power. They control all the banks. They control all the media.
One of the Koch brothers came out. I think it was today, and he's in his 80s. He said that he kind of flipped. He's backed. He's a libertarian, but he's always backed, liberal kind of agendas.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, he kind of flipped. Like he kind of has regrets from that. So,
I mean, they give us this illusion of choice. It's like a little cartoon I saw. It was two cows and a divider, and one said Republic and one said Democratic, and then on the other side of the wall was a slaughterhouse. I mean, we really are just playing this freedom of choice as an illusion, because ultimately it continues to be the same game. We continue to pay insurmountable amounts of taxes. It doesn't matter who gets in power. And as long as these international entities have the power, then we're all going to be with the illusion of choice. We just think that we have a choice, but they really yield all the power. And I think it's been that way for a long time. And I think They're doing everything they can to take the fundamental aspect of the building block of America way, which is Christianity, which we were founded on. We ran away from the Catholicism and the banking industry of Europe to form this country, to start a new peace and freedom. And they want that back. They want us to be under this one world rule, one religion, one banking industry, one police force. And they want Google, Facebook, and all these tech giants to police us. They want drones. They want contact tracing. You know,
you just got to be like Alex Jones with them drones. Take a baseball bat.
Yeah. I know it's a lot, but
so if I kind of guess your take based on what you've said that, you know, if Biden gets in, it's all downhill from there. If Trump is able to somehow pull this election out of his ass, which I don't see happening, aren't we just perpetuating the inevitable?
Of course. I think the wheels of motion of what power they've gained based upon this COVID thing has already been set, and they're not going to stop.
So you think that if we were to get 4 more years of the same administration that we've had, that we could somehow get rid of COVID, and God forbid another, you know, issue like that to come up. I
mean, Bill Gates
would it
already
be
said,
better for us if the power shift happens without COVID? Like in 4 years, there's no COVID, there's no pandemic, whatever. Would it be any different?
Probably not, because I mean, the World Economic Forum, the Catholic Church, the United Nations, they're all in lockstep with this concept of where they want to take the direction of humanity. And it doesn't matter who gets in office.
Over the cliff.
You know, they want control. They want control over everything you do, everything you buy.
Why?
Any way you
think. Get it. I don't even want to wave to my neighbor, and I think my neighbors are great, but I don't even want to be like, "Hey, how you doing?" Because that takes effort and stuff.
If you
like, I just want to go to my mailbox, mind my own fucking business, and walk back without having to wave to somebody. And you know, so why does anybody want to control anybody else? I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's all biblical. It all goes back to the days of Babylon.
Well, is this Jews or is this Christians or is this Muslims? I mean, what is it?
This is pretty much Luciferian. I mean,
Satan.
Yeah, he is.
I'm not getting rid of my metal albums. I'm sorry.
He is the great deceiver. He convinces all that he actually doesn't exist. So, I mean, that's the biggest lie he's ever told anybody. Fundamentally, I'm a Christian, so I believe in God, and you know, I pray at night. But ultimately, that's what we're battling, because in the Bible it specifically says that we're not fighting forces of this earth. We're fighting a spiritual battle, and that's the ultimate thing. Once humanity realizes, when you're on your deathbed and you realize your Toyota Camry is not going to go with you to wherever you're going, and whatever you believe,
fuck you, Vegeta.
And all the things you bought and everybody you disregarded in your life that actually loved you to get those things that you got, and you're on your deathbed in your pajamas pissing yourself, none of it was worth it. You know, even Anthony Levine, the creator of the Church of Satan and the Satanic Bible, finally on his deathbed said, "I can't believe I fought for the wrong God." So
yeah, I mean, isn't that what everybody does though when their mortality comes into sight? They're like, "I love Jesus," just in case.
Well, you know.
So, but you know, if there's a God, and then God knows that what's up.
You won't be able to go to church. Only bars are open. Churches are all closed.
There's no bars open.
Yeah.
If your bar is Walmart, then your bar is open.
Yeah, we're gonna shut down.
All the bars are open.
The fitness centers where you can keep yourself healthy, and we're going to shut down the fellowship of churches.
Bars here are open. The bars there's.
Over by Athena are open.
We're going to keep the liquor stores open though, and the abortion clinics.
Abortion clinics are open.
Abortion clinics.
I mean,
are open.
Come on.
Yeah, everything's open right now.
Do you think conservatives are getting abortions right now?
No. It's
all right then. It's a you know.
It's only in the ethnic neighborhoods. where it's prevalent, along with the liquor stores.
Well, I mean, there's white people doing it too. Let's not be racist.
Well, no, I'm not saying, you know,
I seen
racist, but
grandma out front. I went by there the other day. She was holding a sign with a dead baby on it. And I'm like, man, you know, they need to bring back like Matlock and Murder, She Wrote. Give her like Alex Trebek died. I guess now she's got nothing to do.
Oh, well, yeah.
I don't get it. Everybody was like, oh, Alex Trebek. Every podcast was like, Alex Trebek, man, let's tip our hat, you know, and blah, blah, blah. Fuck Alex Trebek. So, okay, good. I won't have to see his ass trying to sell $9.95 a month life insurance to old people anymore.
Yeah, I kind of like the
Fuck
Tom
off.
Selleck reverse mortgage.
Like it's
You can trust me.
yeah.
I'm Tom Selleck.
You know, I wouldn't back a product that wasn't paying me good. Yeah. And now we got Kelsey Grammer doing just like, are we that old, dude?
What happened to Donahue?
Fucking Frazier's out over here.
You know,
Donna, isn't he dead?
Maybe
Bill Donahue? He's got to be.
Yeah, maybe.
It's got to be. Hopefully he took that bitch fucking Sally Jesse Raphael with him.
Oh, don't talk about Sally like that.
Those glasses were like, dude.
Yeah.
They were like something like
Ricky Lake and
something like you see on like Jersey Shore. They were that obnoxious.
We're way out of our
Ricky Lake was a little short, dumpy, and fat to be on fucking television. Sorry,
but Jerry Springer.
Maybe she banged Weinstein and got that job. I don't know.
Forever.
Jerry Springer still. Hey, I wish they'd keep doing that show. Baggage. That shit's awesome.
Yeah. Polluting the minds of Americans everywhere. Thank you. Daytime talk shows. Now we have The View. So
let's see. Dave says, can y'all exercise my demons with beer and cigarettes and hollering wives?
We're busy exercising.
They're basically, they asked earlier if I would just give you a mic. And, well, I'm not really wired up for that right now. I've got plenty of mics and plenty of mic cables, but I don't think you want to be on camera. So
I'm sure I got a bunch of hate right now, but yeah, it's all love.
Nope.
If you're not listening, you're not doing it right.
What is it? Wrong.
Well,
why is that wrong?
I don't know. It's anatomically.
It's riding the duck and not.
It's riding a piggyback.
Well, fuck a duck.
Yeah, I thought this was appropriate. I know.
Okay, what's the next show? Tell me what the next show is, and I'll tell you if we can start it.
I got to be cool up against this guy. Look at him, so I got to wear something like to project my coolness. I can't compete with that. Come on.
Yeah,
Bob.
thanks to at Crom2s, like Tom Cruise, just with the letters juxtaposed. Crom2s on Twitter. He's the one who did my artwork. Thanks to John Jamingo, my former co-host, I guess, from the Bullhorn podcast for getting that made up for us. That was very cool of him.
That's awesome.
Dave, I'm waiting for what you want to call the next show. Would that be Soft's show? Are we going to be drinking again? What drugs are we going to be doing this week?
We need some elevator music
I
going.
be a part of that show.
Only if it depends on what drugs.
Let's talk about
what narcotics are we going to be taking, like oxys this week to see who can take the most. Lisa said people are so brainwashed. You see them wearing their mask while alone and driving in the car. Yeah, I see that a lot too. But I just tell myself, well, that's an Uber driver or something. I don't know. Maybe they farted. I don't know. No.
Nah.
Someone needs to shit idiots. Yeah, my buddy Soft Weekly, that's his name online. He does a show called Someone Needs to Say It, and they usually air at this particular time, and he's holding off so
we
that
gotta wrap this up.
Because we're taking up his 9 viewers.
I think I've said way too much already. So
we can. I'm gonna sort of leave this like as is.
Yeah.
Since I only come out here to masturbate. So,
I didn't walk in on that. He had a door closed when I walked in. I was like, "Is he dressing or what?"
He knocked on the door, and I'm like, "What are you knocking?"
I didn't know.
It's not like I'm taking a dump in here or something.
You just don't walk into somebody's house and
this dude. It's a garage. This used to be. I used to park cars here and have cabinets on this wall with like polishing products and stuff for cars in it.
It could have been Bob's masturbating domain. And
I
want to step into
painted the brakes on my. I painted the brake calipers on my Camaro right here.
Bob has had some really cool cars. He still owns a really cool car.
Yeah, well, you know, for a minivan,
but it doesn't have a train horn. So yeah,
I don't even think there's anywhere to put a train horn on that damn.
Oh,
you
can
thing.
fit one in there. Trust me.
You ain't looked under that hood, dude. I can barely get the friggin' dipstick out.
There's a million women out there say you can't fit in my hood.
No, I don't want to get one of those other ones though. I don't want to make me one of those other ones though, like you got with the sounds.
No. Oh yeah, a little bitty.
Yeah. I don't know what to call it. The little MP3 sound player.
Fruit chip and
it's like a soundboard for your car. It's neat.
Yeah.
You can pull up to a red light and click like a chicken.
Don't give my copyright away.
It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
when you did that, you were I don't know how, but I was downtown and you pulled up like, you know, next to me and I was like, is that wYzEgYe? And then you did the was it the
R2D2?
R2D2 sound?
Oh yeah.
And everybody walking by was like, whoa, what the hell is that? Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty unique.
What if you like change that to use like the N word and call people like, you know, the F slurs and stuff?
Oh,
that'd be awesome.
Horrible. I'd get
whatever. That'd be hilarious. Nobody would know who said it. It'd be fucking great.
I mean, I could do like the New Yorker voice, like, "Hey, get the fuck out of the way! Get off your damn cell phone," or you know, something like that. But I don't know. I like my little animal sounds. You know, I got my little wolf call. You know, that's pretty cool. So, you just can't be. You can't be normal. I mean, when you're normal, then you're bland and you're like everybody else. So I like to be unique. You know.
Well, now they're just being trolls in here. So, so we're gonna dip. Okay. I am gonna do a show with Soft very soon. We've been talking about this for like a couple of weeks. We've just both been a little bit too busy. He's got a bunch of kids and stuff, and it's very hard, man. It's very hard. No, Vegeta, I did not secretly vote for Biden, but I did drive my mother to the polls so that she could vote for Biden. I even helped her do it because she was doing okay with the ballot, but I just wanted to make sure, you know, I like, yeah, that right there. And then this amendment, well, this amendment means this, and this was, you know, I let her choose. I didn't tell her who to vote for, but yeah, my mom voted for Biden, and Alabama, that's, you know, it's a virtue signal at best, but
well, just for the record, I don't vote. I've never voted. I will never be part of the democracy system. Because
that's you know, another thing, not to drag this out, but another thing I keep hearing is that all this shit about the election is that this is a blah blah to the democracy, to our democracy. Do we not live in a fucking republic?
We do. Yeah.
It's a republic.
Yeah. Well, I get to yell at both sides. It doesn't matter who wins.
The only democratic part of it is basically the voting, right?
Yeah.
How we handle the elections. That's the democratic side of it, right? Yeah. We're in a democratic republic.
Yeah, it is a republic.
So why the fuck do they keep calling it our democracy?
Because we keep spreading democracy to Yemen and all the small children with bombs. And
what does that have to do with our election? Yeah. You mean drone strikes?
Yeah.
Well, that was Obama. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you to everybody who has commented.
Thank you, guys.
I've tried to address them. I agree. My friend Tristan, he says that he would have preferred Kanye get the vote. I agree. I would
might as well.
I would love everything to be closed on Sunday.
Oh yeah,
you're my Chick-fil-A.
We can read the Kanye Bible that he wrote. Yeah.
All righty, Banana Republic, says Lisa. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I may or may not edit this. I may just pull a Soft and say fuck it and put it up like it is. You obviously know where to find me, so I'm not going to give out my damn socials. If you'd like to, you can leave a voicemail. It's 256-229-4105. That's 256-229-4105. BoomerBobShow@gmail.com. Thank you to wYzEgYe for another fun episode of drinking, and I'm gonna sleep good tonight. Thanks.
wYzEgYe.com.
The links will be in the description if you can't remember that because you're like us and too many Coors can, like Stuttering John, too many Coors cans on the table.
And hits to the head.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and catch us over in the Discord for Someone Needs to Say It podcast.